For those of you who've seen my first video, you will know that one of the reasons I took the engine out of the car was because I had problems with the water pump. It was leaking from the bearing in here, and so this video is about how to change the water pump, take it out of the casting and put in the new cartridge. I noticed on YouTube there's no really good videos on how to do this. There's one on how to sort of put it back, but it's not. It doesn't actually show you how it's physically done. So again, I want to concentrate and show you how I actually did all of this process, or I'm going to do this process. To start with, I had to remove the old one, and you can see this is what came out, and this is the seal. This is all broken up. It's completely knackered, and also it's, well, I don't know, maybe because I've driven it out, but this is also very stiff to turn on the bearing. So the first operation was to remove the this pulley that's on the front, or the pulley mount, which takes the pulley that's driven by the fan belt, or the water pump belt. That's on the end of this, which is, that goes in that way into here and sticks out of here. So to get this off, it's actually very easy. I just used this 3-leg puller, which went round there and just pulled the whole thing off. It wasn't on that tight. It's an interference fit on that shaft, so that was quite easy. So the next exercise was to actually drive this out of the casing. So all I did there was put the casing up on the housing, up on a couple of bits of wood, and basically just with a hammer, and I used a drift, just bash this out. Before you do that, you've got to take out, there's a clip, this funny little sort of clip thing, which is in there, which actually retains it. There's a cut groove in there, which aligns with one of the grooves on this shaft, on the bearing, outside of the bearing, and that just stops the thing moving should it decide it wants to. So that just fell out then. It came out actually again relatively easily. It was all a bit cruddy inside here, so I've cleaned all that up. That's the old inner part of the impeller, or the outside housing. It's got a couple of O-rings around the outside. That just sits in there, and again, when you pull this off the engine, you can see the first O-ring, and the other one's in there. So I just gently prise that out from the inside. You can get sort of, with a screwdriver, you can get a bearing surface on there, which you can just sort of slightly lever it and just keep working it around, and then the thing eventually pops out. To get the new one in, I'm going to drive this in from this way. So the long end goes in that way round. I've made up a tool which fits over there, so it bears on the outside of the bearing, because I don't want to bash the shaft, because I think when I took the old one out, that's damaged the bearing. I don't want to damage obviously the new bearing, so I want to bear on the outside of the bearing housing. So just a bit of steel bar with a appropriate size hole drilled in the top of it. I'm hoping that I can then drive that down, and that will this face will be flush with this face, and that should make sure that the holes line up. But I'll check it as I go through. Well, I've put this in the oven to warm it up a bit, so hopefully that'll make it a bit easier to get in. I've also decided to do it on the floor, because although the bench is quite sturdy, there is some compliance in it, and I don't want to mess around with trying to bash this in too hard, so I thought I'd better put it on the floor, which obviously is a bit more solid. Alright, I must get this the right way around. Here we go. going in quite easily. See, that's pressed in. That's it. Let's make sure the grooves are lined up. There you can see that. Yeah, good job. Oh, it's hot. Right, it's still red hot this time. That's why I'm using the gloves. I'll try and get this pin in. It's not really easy with gloves on. Taking one of the gloves off because I can't really manipulate this pin. With the gloves on. I don't know how this goes in. It's in the slot, but how you get it to go round the corner, I don't know. This is going to go right in here. There's probably some easy way of doing this if you know what you're doing. But well, I've got no idea how this is supposed to go in. And it goes in the other way. Put a bit more of a curve on this. Well, it's not in, but it's a bit in more than it was. I've got that end of there into that, so whether I can let's pushed it around a bit. Well, what a bugger this is. Now that's it in now. Well, it's sort of in. I don't think it's going to come out. Hopefully it'll do enough to retain the bearing, stop it sliding backwards and forwards. I think it will. Anyway, there we are. That'll do. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. Look, it's all a bit bent, but what a bugger. Right, now I'm going to put this in. Well, I don't know what you call this. It's like it's a spring and there's some sort of tension device to put a bit of pressure on the seal between the this and this sealing ring here. And obviously the impeller's on here, so this doesn't turn, but this bit turns. So this is the sort of bearing surface seal. Anyway, that goes on there. Got this socket, which fits over. It's good diameter. What diameter is this? 30mm deep socket. Let's give that a little tap in there. Right, that's all good, and seated properly. Make sure it's just sitting down. Brilliant. Then this sort of thrust washer goes on next. It's rubber this side. Rubber seal must be against the impeller. So that goes on that way. So I think I need to probably get this in next. Let's put the O-rings on. Now, the what I took out had silicone sealant in there. I think I'm just going to put a bit of harder more around there. Harder more. At least with Hylamite, it doesn't actually set, does it? So you can get it off again quite easily. The trouble with silicone, it's a bit like this: is it all squodges out into the waterways and everywhere else. I'm trying to get on the inside surface where the O-rings are going to be. That. Oh, that's a bit of a tight fit. It's got a bit of wood. I think that's in. I can't. Yeah, I can just about see. I don't know whether you can see on the camera there. It's sitting down evenly inside. Just give it another tap, because this is going to be quite crucial if the otherwise the impeller won't be concentric with this. That's the impeller's got to go on there, and it's got to run concentric with this, and we don't want a good fit on there. So there we go. Right, now I've got to put this on. So the instructions say rubber seal against the impeller. I don't know whether you can see that, but you can see the way it's drawn. It looks like there's a little bit of a ridge or a ring round there going against the impeller. When you look at the actual device, the actual component, you can see that maybe it's that side, but I can't see. I think it must be the rubber side that goes against it, as it says, because that's a hard plastic surface, like a Teflon-y type surface, and similarly in there. So I guess those two rub against each other, and that just sort of seals against the impeller. I've just been and had a look on the internet, see if I could see from the parts diagram, the Lotus parts diagram, which way round it goes, and it looks like they show that sort of ceramic-y, hard plasticky bit, and then this bit, but the parts diagram's not for the latest versions of the water pump kit. So anyway, I'm going to stick it on that way round. I don't want to push this on too far because it's sprung loaded the bit below it, and it obviously bears up against it, and this needs to seal against the back of the impeller here. So I'm just going to push on a little bit and leave it like that, and then when I drive the impeller on, that will push the whole thing down and it will sit down properly, hopefully. Next thing is to get this on here. I'm a bit apprehensive about this because I don't want to, if I push it on too far, it's going to be a devil to get off. I'm going to have to take all that off and then pull it out again. I'm hoping that I just drive in until this is flush with the top of there, which is the same as the old one. See, it's sort of flush with the, you can see that it's sort of flush with the pulleys, flush with the top of the spindle. Right, now to put the impeller on, like the casing, I've warmed this impeller up a bit. I used a blow lamp this time because upper manager wasn't too happy about me putting the casing in the oven. She objected to that, so I've used a blow lamp this time, and it's nice and warm. So I'm going to use this again because I want to support the. No, I want to support the bearing. I want to support the shaft. No. See if I can. Yep, a bit more. I need to get a bit closer than that, I think. I'm going to have to put this on the floor. Not sure how close this is going to be, but I think it'll go a bit more. Let me just put it a little bit more. So it's flush. That's better. Well, you can see that. It's almost flush. I think a little bit more. Yep. There is a gap, but I guess there's got to be a gap. So I think I'll leave it at that. Job's done. All I've got to do now is put the pulley on this side. Well, I've made a bit of a faux pas here. I've got to put this pulley on this side here. And I should have really put this pulley on before I put that one on, because you can see this is recessed. So when I put that down on the ground, put that on and drive it down, it might push the whole lot through. I know this will perhaps stop it, but it's going to strain the bearing if I allow that to happen. So what I've done is I've made up a piece that fits in there, way up, and then I've this middle block, put that on there, and hopefully that will bear on the end of the shaft, and it will allow me to drive that on. I need to go and warm this up again, so I'm just going to do that now. Right, there's the little inserty bit. Put this the right way around. Line that up. And what's going on? That's tough. I've got a flat one here. Let's use that one. It was marking the edge a bit, and I think it's because of the holes in this. Yeah, it's going on. That's going on. One more, and it should be on. Done. Right, now I need to set the gap between the impeller and this ring. Now, according to the workshop manual, it should be between 20 thou and 30 thou. And at the moment, these feeler gauges are 30 thou. It's quite a bit different there, so I need to adjust that. So I put it up in the vise, and what I'll do now is gently tighten this up, and then adjust this gap. moving quite easily in the vise. It's just want to do it a bit at a time, just I can actually see it moving. I don't know whether you saw it on the video. Let's do a little bit more. Don't want to overdo this because pulling this back off is not going to be easy. It's getting there. A little bit more. A little bit more. I'll probably set it. Yeah, that's it. It's 30. Let's try another one. That one's a bit tighter. Not much. Well, I'm going to take it out of the vise now and just check all of them, see whether it's, you know, this ring needs to be concentric, and if this is not pushed in far enough or is slightly out of alignment, then there may be problems. So I'm just going to take it out and check it all. Well, I've checked out all the gaps between all the fins on the impeller and the casing, and they're all now within tolerance. So that's it all done. So it's all ready now to, I'm going to mount the rubbing strip on and the other bits and pieces, and I can stick it back on the car. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe and hit the like button. Until next time, goodbye.